Please be seated.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Hello.
This is the case of Tucker versus Hunter.
Thank you, Jerome. Good day, everyone. Good day. Miss Tucker, you believed another man was your dad until a bomb was dropped on you 10 years ago when your mother admitted that the defendant is your biological father. You opened your case to prove to Mr. Hunter that he is your dad. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Hunter, you admit you have distanced yourself from the plaintiff because you have serious doubts you are her father. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Miss Tucker, you admit you initially lied to your daughter, but claim you and Mr. Hunter have always known that he is her father. Is that correct?
Your Honor.
So, Miss Tucker, I'll start with you. Explain why you opened your case.
I opened my case because for these last few years, I have been trying to get Charles to do a DNA test with me. Twice I scheduled a test, he didn't show up. And it's just a lot of confusion in my own mind, and it's very traumatic to me. I'm trying to figure out if he's my father or not to close this chapter in my life.
And so this is something that has been with you. You've been struggling with this.
Yes, because I grew up thinking someone else was my father. So to find out that someone else could be my father, it's really had an effect on me.
All right, Mr. Hunter, Ms. Tucker has expressed how much this means to her to find out who her father really is. What is your response?
I want her to find out who her father really is also.
You don't believe you are?
Well, I had doubts because her mother told me that I wasn't 30 years ago, so.
And so, Mom, Ms. Tucker?
Yes, Your Honor.
You hear your daughter speak?
Yes, Your Honor.
Express her pain?
Yes, Your Honor.
You say you and Mr. Hunter have always known that he was her biological father.
Yes, Your Honor.
Is there something you haven't told your daughter?
I told her that someone else was her father at the time in order to protect her. I felt like Mr. Hunter was not a good role model.
So you felt by saying someone else was her father, what she had a better chance of having a father in her life? What was your reasoning?
No, Your Honor, that's not the reason why. I was dating this guy, but it was basically over. And at the end of the day, he wasn't good for her, and neither was Mr. Hunter. So I just went on and just raised her by myself, with my family.
All right. So, Miss Tucker, tell me, who did you believe was your father early in life?
I believe the other gentleman was my father. I always grew up only hearing his name, and his sister used to come and get me, and they treated me as their own. Every weekend, I would be with his family. I never met him. He never was around, but they still showed me a lot of love.
And so when did you find out that he may not be your biological father?
I was in the 5th grade, and his sister had came and got me one weekend like she always did. And they were on the phone, and I was over listening to their conversation with her telling him that he needed to come around and he needed to meet me. She believed that I was his daughter. And I walked in and I asked, was that him on the phone? And she said yes. She gave me the phone. And it was my first time ever talking to him. I was really excited. But I wanted to know, where was he? Why was he not around? And that's when he told me that my mom was not being honest with me. And he knew I wasn't his daughter.
And over the phone?
Mm-hmm.
And how old were you when this happened?
I was in the 5th grade.
Wow. Whoa. And so at that point, you were excited to get on the phone?
I was excited, but I got off the phone traumatized.
Of course.
Because that was the first I had ever heard that he wasn't my father. Yeah.
Wow. And I can see when you think about that moment, it makes you emotional to this day.
Yeah, because I grew up thinking one thing, and my very first time talking to him, hearing that, it was confusing. Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah.
And so I see you fighting back tears, honey. I know you've had to hold so much of this in. What do you do after that?
His sister didn't come get me again after that, but I did go home and I talked to my mom about it, and she told me it did not matter because she was my mother and father and he didn't do anything anyway. And so I just accepted it as that. My mom's always did her best with me, and I grew up with a great family, so I just took it as if it was his loss. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It was. So, Mom, you hear your daughter
Yes, Your Honor.
in tears talk about that conversation in the 5th grade.
Yes, Your Honor. I felt like I was selfish, basically, but at the end of the day, it hurt her. So I'm here to clean what I did up.
Your Honor, may I say something? Even though my mom was wrong, I still feel as though Mr. Hunter also knew a big chance that he was my father. My mom is wrong, but he's wrong because I was born innocent into this. And even if she told him he wasn't the father, he knew he laid down with her. So he should have took measures into his own hands to get his own DNA test. That's really how I feel about the situation.
If you want more episodes of Paternity Court, make sure to subscribe and click on the notification bell. At what point do you hear about Mr. Hunter, Ms. Tucker?
I was in the 7th grade, and where we're from is very small. So I was at a store, and there's a woman who knows them both. And she told me, she said, "You look just like your dad." And so naturally, I'm thinking she's talking about the other gentleman. So I go, "Oh, you know my dad?" And I said his name. And she goes, "That's not your dad." And that's when she said Mr. Hunter's name. And that was the first I have ever heard of him. So I went home, and I did tell my mom what she said, but my mom just said she was lying. So she didn't know what she was talking about.
So, Mr. Hunter, I want to go to you because I want to understand, when did you know about Adriana?
Adrian told me she was pregnant.
So when she got pregnant, you were told?
Yeah. And she told me the child wasn't mine.
And what was your relationship like with Miss Tucker? You were dating exclusively? You were boyfriend and girlfriend, or just?
Yeah, for a short while.
Okay.
Yeah, for a short while. But when she told me she was pregnant, she said the baby wasn't mine. I left and I got my life together. And I stayed gone for 15, 16 years. I came back to North Carolina hearing rumors that she was mine. So what am I supposed to do when someone tells me I'm not the father? I move on with my life.
But even though he's saying he went off what my mom said, I was in middle school, and the young woman that is like his daughter, I guess he was there to pick her up, and they called me out of class. This was the first day I ever saw him. And he told me who he was, and he told me that he was my dad. That's what he said. So
Wait, what?
That's what he told me that day. And I told him no, like I always have said, the other man was my dad. And when I went home that day, I told my mom, and just so happened, my mom still said no. And then we see him. I guess he had just moved back to town. And they see each other, and they're like going back and forth. I didn't know the details, but now I know that's pretty much probably what they were going back and forth about was me.
So, Mr. Hunter, did you show up at the school and tell Miss Tucker, "I'm your father"?
That was a long time ago. And I vaguely remember that conversation when she was at that school. And it could have been like a jokingly type of thing when I said
No, you don't joke, you don't pull a child out of school and then tell him a joke that I think I'm your father. So that's not gonna fly with me. Come with some new testimony that makes sense. Do you remember having that conversation?
I remember seeing her at that school. I don't remember exactly what was said, but I remember coming to the school.
So, Miss Tucker, I want you to look at Mr. Hunter and tell him what you felt like, because you remember it and you haven't forgotten it.
No, I have not forgot it out of all of these years, and I thought you were lying because I had never heard of you. But that's one reason why I've continued to seek you, because of what you told me that day. That's just the truth.
I'll admit that when I found some words out that she might have been my daughter, I should have stepped up and did something. So I had a lot of things on my plate, but I wasn't denying her because I had other things on my plate. I just kept saying, I don't know, because we haven't had a DNA test. Her mother told me I was not the father.
Miss Tucker, when does your mom finally admit to you she believes Mr. Hunter is your biological father?
I was 23, and we were in a car with my aunt, and they have they're a loving relationship, but my aunt's very vocal. And I just was talking about some things that I wanted to do, and my aunt made the comment to my mom that she had not been truthful to me about who my dad was, and she needed to tell me the truth. And my mom looked like she just looked like my aunt better keep her mouth shut.
Oh.
Yeah. And so I'm in the back seat and I'm looking at my mom and I'm looking at my aunt and I'm like, Mom, what is she talking about? And my mom is like, you better be quiet, you better not. And that's when my aunt told me that he was my father. Yeah.
So your aunt actually submitted a statement to the court. It reads, my sister confessed to me that Charles was Adriana's father, but at the time she wanted nothing to do with Charles. So, Mr. Hunter, have you ever thought and said to yourself, what did I do to her? Why am I the person that she wouldn't tell? And the whole town, my mother might know, her sister might know, my family might know. How are you the only one that don't know?
Did it have something to do with another situation that we were in that she was mad about?
What situation? We here now. I mean, I could see the look on your face right now. I know it's got to be something else. What's the situation?
Well, I had met a young lady, and come to find out it was Adrian's sister. And I thought that she was mad about that.
So you slept with her sister. Did you know this?
Your Honor, this has nothing to do with my sister.
When I came back to North Carolina, Adrian wouldn't speak to me, she wouldn't talk to me, she had nothing to do with me. That was the reason why I felt she wouldn't talk to me.
Got it. See, this is it. Woo, thank you, Lord, for patience. I couldn't leave it alone. I'm like, there is something bizarre happening here. And I don't care, Miss Tucker, I get what you're saying because that's your perspective. And I understand what he's saying because he left after you said the baby's not yours, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, you told everybody else that you thought you confided in, and people had thoughts that the baby might be his, but you told him she wasn't.
Yes, Your Honor.
He's gone. But during that time, and that would have been almost 20 years ago, when he comes back to town during the window of time when he was hearing the rumors, he hooks up with your sister then. See, that is where this story shifts. Because people act based upon the lens they're seeing things through. That's not your lens. Your lens is, even though I told you it wasn't your daughter, you should really still know. You know, women, we have a thing of doing that, you know. What's wrong with you? Nothing, I'm fine. I'm not fine. I'm not fine. Right? Is this your baby? No. But you, in your mind, you thinking, he should know it's his baby. He should know. That is not how the world works. And what I get most is when I look at you, Adriana, and I see the confusion when you speak, and I see those, you well up with tears every time you talk about it. And I feel for you.
Yes, ma'am.
Because of all of these dynamics, you're the one that suffered.
One thing I want to say to both of them is that this is about me. And I feel like both of them are just kind of nonchalant about it because this is the most I've heard out of all of this time. It took for me to have to take matters into my own hands to get both of them here and answered, and it should not have happened like that, I feel like. I just don't think it should have happened like that.
Yeah. You are right. This is exactly why this courtroom exists. Jerome, I'm ready for the envelope. These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. In the case of Tucker versus Hunter, when it comes to 30-year-old Adriana Tucker, it has been determined by this court. Mr. Hunter, you are not the father. I'm sorry, Adriana.
It's okay. I just wanted answers so that I don't have to keep interrupting his life or, you know, keep going through this in my own life. So, yeah.
I'm very sorry. I was hoping to be able to give you the closure you deserve.
Yes.
But I do have to ask you, Miss Tucker.
Yes, Shawn.
If you say the other man was not the father and Mr. Hunter was, and now we found out Mr. Hunter is not, who is your daughter's biological father?
It has to be the other guy, because it was just them two. I'm not that girl, so between them, it has to be the other one then. Yes, Shawn.
And where is he?
Not for sure. At this time, he's been gone so long, and then we've been gone. When he left, he never came back.
Do you know where his family is? Can you reach him?
And she talks to his sister and everyone.
All right. We have counseling and resources for you all. I wish you all the very, very best. Court is adjourned.